IELTS test questions feel confusing and full of tough grammar? Don't worry. Through these videos and by Mat Clark's book, you can learn every single grammar point inside real essays, step by step. In today's video, we are going to study topic 3. And I show you how to break down the question type, how to break down the question, how to highlight advanced collocations and vocabulary, and I explain all the grammar rule in the simple English. Let's look at the exact question for topic 3. It says there is a disagreement on the impact of increased business and cultural contact between countries on a country's identity. What is your opinion? This is a discussion opinion essay. That means you should discuss both sides and make your own opinion very clear. Many students ask me, how do I know if it's a discussion opinion essay, not an opinion essay only? It's actually very simple. Look at the wording. If it says, do you agree or disagree? That's an opinion only essay. And you don't have to cover both sides. You can support one side strongly or take a balanced view. It's optional. But you don't have to fully explain the other side. I mean in the opinion essay. But if it says, discuss both views and give your opinion, or take a lesson. This is a disagreement. What is your opinion? That's discussion opinion. Like here, you must explain both sides of the argument before giving your opinion. Remember, in all cases, the examiner wants to see your clear opinion. But the structure depends on the wordings, so always check the keywords. If you see there is a disagreement, it is a discussion opinion essay. I explain more why this is a discussion opinion essay. The question says, there is a disagreement. That means there are two sides. As I mentioned earlier, side 1, some people believe international business and cultural contact actually strengthen national identity because countries protect their culture to attract tourists, and this encourages preservation. Side 2, others think it weakens national identity because foreign culture and business often replace local traditions, especially among the younger generation. Your job in the essay is to present both sides. Then give your own opinion clearly in the introduction and in the conclusion. This question asks us to consider how increasing global contact through business deals, through medias, cultures, or cultural exchange through tourism affects a nation's cultural identity. Some fear that such contact might fade traditional values and customs. Others argue that international interaction can actually help countries celebrate and preserve what makes them unique. Let's take a look at how the key terms from the question are rephrased, and I mean paraphrased, in Mat Clark's introduction. The question talks about increased business and cultural contact between countries. How we can paraphrase it? This is smoothly paraphrased like this: a closer connection between countries in both economic and cultural aspects. The phrase, a country's identity. Take a listen. A country's identity becomes countries' identities and is expanded to express concern over the gradual demise of those identities. Finally, there is a disagreement. We are going to show how it would be paraphrased. there is a disagreement becomes there is a widespread worry, which suggests that people are concerned, people are worried, capturing the same meaning without copying the question. This is a great example of how to paraphrase the task naturally without repeating those words. It also sets a clear and academic tone right from the start. Let's analyze the question in terms of synonyms and professional collocations. Notice the word disagreement. Disagreement is good, but you can also use divergence of opinion or ongoing controversy. The word impact is not bad, impact. But if you want variety, use far-reaching consequences or significant implication. Okay? Instead of impact, you can use what? Far-reaching consequences and significant implications. For business and culture contact, what we should use? Go with intensified economic and cultural exchanges. I repeat it, intensified economic and cultural exchanges or cross-border interaction. And instead of repeating a country's identity, we have it in our introduction, a country's identity. You can say cultural distinctiveness or traditional fabric instead of a country's identity. It's really useful. You can use it in your writing. Keep the original terms, just enrich them with professional synonyms. Instead of only saying conspicuous, you can say noticeable, prominent, striking, significant, or even unmistakable. Likewise, closer connection can be made more academic as tighter integration or deepening interdependence. These upgrades give your introduction sophistication without changing its meaning. Now let's look at the phrase widespread worry. We are going to use high-level alternatives for widespread worry. It's a good phrase, widespread worry. But in IELTS writing, we want more variety, we want more precision. If the worry is becoming stronger over time, with the passing of time, we can say mounting anxiety or growing apprehension. Instead of widespread worry, you can say growing apprehension. That's really perfect. If the worry is spread everywhere in society, we can use pervasive concern, pervasive anxiety. If many people share the same feeling, call it collective concern, collective unease. For a very deep and strong kind of worry, say deep-seated fear. Deep-seated fear. And if the worry is very urgent and intense, you can say heightened alarm. Heightened alarm. Notice that each synonym has a slightly different shade of meaning. So you can choose that one that best matches the idea in your essay. Now let's take the phrase gradual demise. The death of a person, gradual demise, the process of making something worse or growing worse. It's already a strong expression, gradual demise, but IELTS examiners love variety. If you want to show culture is being worn away piece by piece, say slow erosion. Instead of gradual demise, you can say slow erosion. For something that weakens little by little, use steady decline, steady decline, steady decline, slow erosion, or progressive weakening, progressive weakening, yeah. If the process happens over a long time, call it long-term deterioration, long-term deterioration. For a softer image, you could use cultural fading. If you want to describe the final result, say eventual disintegration or even slow extinction. We have a lot of alternatives for gradual demise. It's really perfect. Each synonym carries a different level of strength, from gentle, fading is gentle, to very dramatic, extinction. In IELTS writing, you can choose the one that fits the tone of your grammar. It really depends on the meaning you are going to express. The thesis must answer the question and show your position clearly. As I mentioned earlier in the last videos, avoid vague statements like here. This issue should be analyzed. It's vague. Instead, choose a direct stance. Agree, disagree, or balance. That's what the examiner looks for, not a vague statement like here. Now let's look at the thesis statement. In this introduction, the last sentence, the issue should be viewed from multiple perspectives. It's actually too vague, as I mentioned earlier. For example, if you want a balanced answer, say this. Also, there is concern that globalization weakens cultural uniqueness. I believe closer international ties can also strengthen national identity if traditions are actively preserved. See the difference? It's clear, academic, and sets up the structures for the whole essay. Now, if you don't want to balance, but instead want to take agree form, here I write, I firmly believe that. It shows you are agree. I firmly believe that intensified cultural and business exchanges, instead of business contact, global contact, cultural contact, we can use this sentence, cultural and business exchanges. I repeat it, I firmly believe that intensified cultural and business exchanges are gradually eroding national traditions and accelerating the loss of unique identities. This structure is really clear. I use I firmly believe to show what? To show confidence. I highlight the problem, eroding traditions and loss of unique identities. This is really a strong, one-sided position, very direct and very academic. And finally, you can also take the disagree form. This is the opposite direction. Here I say, in my view, rather than causing the demise of cultural identity, international interaction encourages nations to preserve their traditions more consciously while benefiting from global opportunities. What's happening here? I acknowledge the issue with the phrase rather than causing the demise. But then I flip it. Globalization actually makes cultures stronger, not weaker. I finish with a positive outcome, benefiting from global opportunities. So with these three approaches, agree, disagree, balance, you can answer your IELTS essay, opinion essay confidently. Now we are looking at body paragraph 1. Starting with the topic sentence. Here the original sentence is: when a country tends to develop a closer relationship with the rest of the world, it does not necessarily give up its culture. What's the purpose of the topic sentence? Let's break it down. A topic sentence introduces the main idea of the body paragraph. Here it clearly states that closer international interaction does not automatically erode culture. Right away, the examiner knows what this paragraph will argue. That globalization can have a positive or neutral effect on cultural identity. The sentence begins with a conditional phrase: when a country tends to. This is sophisticated and shows advanced grammar. When a country tends to is not simple. Does not necessarily give up its culture is a way of saying globalization isn't all negative. Words like necessarily makes your argument more precise and academic. How to upgrade further without changing the meaning? Develop a closer relationship with the rest of the world. Could also be expressed like this: engage in intensified cross-border interaction for more variety, and give up its culture. Can we use, instead of give up its culture, we can say these collocations like abandon its cultural heritage. Instead of culture, we can say cultural heritage, and instead of give up, we can say abandon. Or sacrifice its national identity. We have learned a lot of vocabularies for the topic of media, culture, tourism. Instead of culture, you can say cultural identity, national identity, cultural heritage. It's really beautiful. Here is a quick question for you. Do you think when a country tends to means the same as if a country, when a country, if a country? Most science students believe it's just another conditional, but actually it's more advanced. When a country tends to, more advanced towards if a country. When introduces a conditional situation or time frame. Tends to shows a general habit. Tends to shows likelihood or probability. So the sentence, when a country tends to develop a closer relationship with the rest of the world, means in situations where countries are likely to develop closer international relations. I've compared if, when, and when something tends to. Look carefully. Each one shows a different level of possibility. If is just one case, when you use if. When shows a repeated fact, and when tends to as the idea of habit or likelihood, which makes your writing sound more academic. So if you want to impress the examiner, don't just write if a country develops. Please use it. When a country tends to is really perfect. Instead of when a country tends to, you could say whenever a nation is inclined to, in case where a country is likely to, as nations increasingly seek to. I repeat it. Whenever a nation is inclined to, in cases where a country is likely to, as nations increasingly seek to. Would you ever call your culture a disgrace? Of course not. So why did the writer choose this word? Let's find out. Now look at the beautiful sentence. Culture is not a disgrace, but an asset of a country. First notice the structure not but. Not a disgrace, but an asset. This is a classic way to show contrast. Instead of saying culture is valuable, the writer makes it stronger by saying it's not a disgrace, but an asset. Second, the vocabulary. Disgrace means shame, means dishonor or humiliation. If something is a disgrace, it embarrasses you. An asset. Asset means a valuable thing, a strength, or an advantage. So the sentence really means culture is not something embracing. It is something valuable that gives a country a strength, gives a country uniqueness. This is a powerful academic style. You can use this, not but. This structure in your own IELTS essays really perfect. For example, education is not a cost but an investment. Education is not a cost but an investment. Or technology is not a threat but an opportunity. Now in the sentence we saw earlier, culture is not a disgrace, but an asset of a country. The word disgrace means shame and dishonor. I mentioned it. Some students ask, can we replace it with humiliation? Disgrace with humiliation. The answer is not exactly. Disgrace is about the status of something in society. Disgrace. For example, a government scandal bring disgrace to the nation. Something brings disgrace to a nation. Humiliation is about the feeling of shame inside a person. For example, losing in front of others causes humiliation. So in our sentence, disgrace is the right choice because we are talking about culture as a social status, not about personal feelings. But here is a great tip. If you are writing about personal experiences in IELTS speaking, you could use humiliation to sound advanced. In IELTS Writing Task 2, disgrace is more academic than humiliation. Here is a quick tip for you. Some advanced collocations with disgrace and humiliation that makes your writing sound academic. Bring disgrace on. It comes with the preposition on. Use this when something brings shame to a group, to an organization, to society. Example, his actions brought disgrace on the government. Second, suffer humiliation. This is more personal and emotional. Example, she suffered humiliation after losing the competition. National disgrace, perfect for public level shame. Often used in essays, in news. Example, corruption is a national disgrace. A deep humiliation. Use this to show a strong, painful personal shame. Example, he has a deep humiliation. Notice the difference. Disgrace in society is really formal. Humiliation is personal shame. Mixing them correctly show lexical range. That what examiners want and love it. Now let's break down this powerful sentence. We continue. An indigenous culture can distinguish one country from others, attracting foreign visitors and yielding high income. In terms of vocabulary, indigenous means native or original to a place. Something that has been there long before foreign influence arrived. Native is the simplest synonym for indigenous. And take a listen. This example: native language, native plants. Aboriginal. Aboriginal is more formal, often about people. It means the earliest people of a land, the original inhabitants before colonization. In everyday use, it's mostly linked to Australia, but in academic English, it can describe original inhabitants everywhere. The most famous people is Aboriginal Australians, the first peoples of Australia, with a rich cultural heritage of art, of storytelling, and traditions. Example: indigenous art in Australia or indigenous tribes in the Amazon. Distinguish. Distinguish means to make one country stand out from others. It's stronger than just different. Yield high income. It's formal, yielding high income. And for bringing or generating money, you can use it. Perfect for IELTS essays. And concerning structure, the structure of that sentence, this sentence is beautifully logical. Indigenous culture distinguishes a country. That uniqueness attracts tourists. Tourism often yields money, so the writer is using a cause and effect chain. This sentence is long but powerful. It shows why tourists travel. It gives some examples and shows government action and ends with the result. Exactly the kind of clear structure IELTS examiners love. Imagine you are a tourist. Do you travel just to sleep in hotels? Of course not. Most tourists want something deeper. They look for culture and they want to learn about other cultures of other countries and sample ways of life, sample their lifestyle. Here, sample means to try or experience. It's like tasting culture with your eyes and heart. After preposition, we always have ing verb, not base verb, like for learning, for sampling. And examples: think of walking through Beijing and hearing an opera, or sitting in a quiet Japanese tea house, or visiting the golden temples of Thailand. These examples bring the sentence alive. Notice how the writer uses 3 different countries. This variety makes the argument really stronger. Examples are like spices in food. They bring flavor. The point is really boring without these examples. Here the writer shows Asia's treasures: Beijing opera, Japanese tea, and Thai temples. 3 sharp, vivid examples. This is how you persuade examiners. Step 3, response. Many countries have responded with protecting and preserving their cultural identities. Now the shift from tourists to government. The verb have responded is really genius. We use present perfect in this situation because we are going to have a live sentence. Look carefully at this phrase. Many countries have responded. Why not just say responded? Because the present perfect shows 2 things at once. Action in the past, they already took some steps in the past, connection to the now, and it shows it matters now. Think about it like this. They responded as if a closed chapter. They have responded that the book is still open. The story continues. And in IELTS writing, the present perfect adds academic weight. It tells the examiner this is not history. And this trend is really alive, is relevant. So whenever you want to describe some changes or actions, begin before and continue now, the present perfect is the best choice for you. Tourists want culture. They visit cultural treasures. Countries respond. They remain top destinations. When we say in an effort to, we are talking about trying hard to reach a goal. But IELTS loves variety, so let's upgrade this in an effort to. Imagine each phrase as a picture, as part of an attempt to, as part of an attempt to, like one puzzle piece in a larger plan. The city planted more trees as part of an attempt to reduce air pollution. Easy. One action means one piece of a bigger plan. The second one, in pursuit of, chasing your dream like a runner. Scientists work day and night in pursuit of medical breakthroughs. Image, chasing after a dream or goal. As a means of holding a tool, using a method to achieve. Festivals are promoted as a means of preserving cultural traditions. Here, festival is the tool, is means to reach the goal. With the intention of throwing a dart at a target. The law was passed with the intention of protecting endangered animals. Clear aim. Like a dart aimed at the target. Driven by the desire to is the last one. The fire inside pushing you forward. Volunteers acted driven by the desire to help their community. Now look at this paragraph ends. Increased tourism, instill fresh life force into these countries, aiding the conservation of their features. First vocabulary. Increased tourism. Safe, but in IELTS we can say growing tourism, rising level of tourism, or expanding tourism. Instead of saying instill fresh life force, we can say breathe new life into. Tourism breathe new life into cultural traditions. Tourism revitalize cultural heritage or injects vitality. The conservation of their features. It's vague, conservation of features. Let's upgrade it. Preservation of cultural heritage, safeguarding traditions, protection of identity. These are formal, really precise, and they are examiner friendly. Grammatically, this sentence is elegant. It starts with a subject, verb, object. Very clear. Then the ing phrase, aiding the conservation, it acts like an advanced connector. It replaces and this helps to. And this helps to. That's why this sentence reads smoothly and academically. If you use ing clause like this in IELTS, examiners immediately see your grammar range. Thank you for watching this video. Please share your opinion in the comment and subscribe and give me a like if this video is helpful for you.